Hey everyone,
Hello,
welcome.
everybody.
Oh my goodness, so we're jumping straight in.
We're in the game.
Oh, this is just the
Oh,
preparation
we're
period.
prepping.
Derek GL, we can begin. Guys, we have two teams here in the 1v1 straight off the bat. Very excited. Thanks for hopping into the 1v1 live stream on YouTube. Reminder that 3v3s will also be happening, streamed on YouTube, streamed on Twitch. You can be here for all the action. We are really fortunate to have these 1v1 matches for some of our newer teams and some of our more experienced teams. Let's take a look on the field.
Yes. So in
So,
this match, we have UCSD versus CU, and they're just setting up their robots right now. We have the prep team in there, making sure the robots are in the correct position, and so that make all their controls are working as well.
right, so it's UCSD in the red.
No, UCSD is in the blue,
Excuse me, thank you, in
and
the
then
blue.
CU is in the red. But yeah. So we have some pretty. It's gonna be. These are already very experienced teams, right? You'd say.
UCSD, obviously the host this year.
Obviously a host, and then CU was the host last year. So we're starting off with a pretty good match, I'd say.
Yeah, I think CU is the favorite in this 1v1. They won, or they got second, excuse me, in 1v1 stand confrontation in the previous year because of a clipped zip tie. So I do anticipate that they will have the upper hand. If you're not familiar, both these standards are going to start at max level. They will fight each other to the death,
To the death.
whichever robot is eliminated first or has the more remaining HP at the end of the timer.
Exactly. And I think UCSD this time around, they have their driver Eclipse, and Eclipse has 4,000 hours in Apex Legends. So
Heck yeah.
I hopefully some of that skill translates to RMNA 1v1s, you know? And
This is a really funny matchup. CU and UC, you can see coming into the YouTube chat, have a bit of a thing.
yeah,
Um,
they have a little alliance going on.
yes, yeah. A little bit of an alliance, a little bit of a bromance, one might say. I
Yeah.
love it. I'm here for it. So CU, UC, early in the Swiss stage. Tough match for UCSD.
Well, hopefully, they can pull through. We can get some interesting matches out here. They joked to me that they have a thing in their software where when they realize they're playing against CU, they just, turn their robot off. But we'll see. Hopefully that doesn't happen.
No, I'm so excited. This UCSD bot looks really clean. We've taken some peeks at these bots. I love the gold, the yellow accents. The open hopper makes me a bit nervous on the blue side.
Yeah, if they
Bumping
run
a
into
wall, they're
anything.
going to run out of projectiles.
Wait, if you saw that, they were just turning a little too fast and a ball came out.
Yeah.
So,
So what some teams have done with particularly the Sentry this year in 3v3, which is analogous to the 1v1 standards, is to just like zip tie a piece of cardboard or carbon fiber on top.
yeah. But I don't know. Do they use the same robot in their 3v3s as well?
I believe so. We'll
Okay.
get a peek at them later today in the 3v3 arena.
Yes.
Here we go, and
All
they're
right.
off. CU and
They're off.
UCSD fighting in the middle. Neither one even peeking the corners. They're just going to fist fight. CU, the aggressor,
Oh,
pushing back UCSD.
and
That's it.
UCSD is done.
Wow.
CU before the match did tell me that their software was
Oh.
cooking this year, and their driver was quote unquote said they were gonna write off their success.
Chat, we don't have the match stats for 1v1s, but I would love to see the gold efficiency on that round. That was crazy by
That
Colorado.
was so fast.
Like
That was
that's got to
so
be, I mean, I guess probably like 50% or higher accuracy, which
100%.
for 17 millimeter projectiles, a good standard is in that 25, 30%. A
Really,
good,
just 25.
yes. Yeah, I
Dang.
mean, when you look at a match, a 3v3 match, you're shooting hundreds of projectiles,
Yeah,
right? And it only takes like 50 to kill a bot.
that's true.
So in this match, they each start with a couple hundred projectiles. They need to take down an enemy robot. They have more than enough. But I mean, CU finished in less than 30 seconds.
Very, very quickly.
Absolutely insane. Like we're gonna watch the
Oh,
POV.
yeah. Well, so I think it's gonna be another very swift to match this time around. That's like the trend with 1v1s. They're very quick, because all the robots really do, they're max level. They need to just, duke it out in the center, and that makes it more entertaining in my opinion. They're very fast scoring and fast-paced games. So these are going to be best of twos for all the Swiss games. So we have um so we have one more match we're going to be watching around, one more round, and I think CU is going to be favored again. And
Yeah. So I want to watch from the red POV this time to see two things. One, did they even need to wait for barrel cooldown? If they hit
oh,
every shot,
they would not need to.
yeah, maybe they paused in between when they peeked a wall or were moving a bit. Looks like the driver POV is a little bit choppy, but we'll
But
hop
it's
in
like,
and out of
yeah,
there.
it's like it's close enough.
You can see
Okay.
the wobble from the spin to win. So if we look at the bots, you can see the Colorado bots spinning nonstop.
And then their computer vision has to counter for that. But yeah, in chat we have some fire quotes. Victory is not determined by the robot performance alone, nor by the skill of the pilot alone. Wow. It's really inspirational. It tells us how cohesive everything needs to be.
And they're off. Here
And
we
they're
go.
off. We have another. Oh, is
What?
that was fast.
I didn't even see most of the
What
projectiles.
time?
Wow. I mean, that was 15 seconds or less. I think way less.
Way less.
Colorado University looking very, very strong. We interviewed them yesterday on the Twitch channel, and they said they thought 1-2 was CU, then Virginia Tech this year for the 3v3.
Yes.
And that's standard in this 1v1 is looking really good.
I like their confidence, and they're backing it up as well. That was a fast set of rounds. And yeah, as we saw, their performance was really good with their what's it called, with their projectiles. They basically hit every single one. So, oh wait,
Be really tough for other competitors to beat CU in 1v1s.
yes.
I do think there are some strategies that weren't implemented, right? UCSD had no fear.
No fear.
They ran right into the middle every time and just battled it out.
Yeah.
Which I applaud their guts and their drivers, like
Tenacity.
yeah, the grit. He just
Yeah.
went in there, man.
Yeah.
But I think perhaps against a team like CU, you might have to run away and try to stay on the other side of a wall, because then you've got a 50-50 chance, right? If you peek a wall, it's just like a video game. It really is an esport at this point. You can peek the wall. There's a 50-50 chance the other enemy is facing the wrong way. You might get a couple hits. If you get a couple lucky times, if you flip heads 3 times in a row, you could deal a significant amount of damage without taking any.
It's gonna be down to a strategy, because in a Duke, CU is really strong. So in like a free-for-all 1v1, just in the center, they might win every single one.
100% agree.
We'll see. They're setting up the field for the next match. Do we know who's up in next? I think it is ARU Dub versus NYU, if I'm not mistaken.
And these 1v1 matches are quick.
Very quick. Are they quick to reset though?
Should be. Our volunteers are working really hard. They're doing a great job sweeping everything up.
Yes.
So
Appreciation.
you
to the
mentioned
volunteers.
there the CUCV.
Yes.
So Colorado University tried to ditch some of the acronyms. Too many C's with CU, UC, and CV all in one conversation. But they are using computer vision to aim, basically legal aim assist. It's legal because the teams have to build it themselves, right?
Yes.
It worked really well, probably, in that round. It was notable that UCSD, in addition to not, hiding behind walls, wasn't spinning
They
and...
weren't really Beyblading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, CV, a little bit of good aim assist will go a long way in that instance. In later matches, CU is going to have to fight against teams who are spinning, who have uneven vertical armor panels, so that you have to keep your projectiles either going up or down or right in the middle. And then one of the techniques that's been brought out this year, we were discussing it last night. We have an after hours Twitch channel called Robotics Esports Rep. And we were discussing the flappers on UWs.
Oh, yeah.
So some had theorized, myself included, that perhaps they were to swat balls out of the air. But after discussing, we decided that most likely those are there to prevent computer vision models from seeing a side profile of the armor panel. Most TV models see that side profile on a spinning bot, predict where it's going to be so you can pre-fire the projectiles. With those fan blades up, you don't see the armor panel until it's too late to pre-fire.
Oh,
it will negate a lot of decent CV. You're going to have really strong prediction algorithms so that the robot knows that there's going to be another armor panel, even though it can't see it.
I see. That's advanced strategies. But yeah, doing that with the uneven armor panels and a faster Beyblade even, which Beyblading is just when the robot is spinning around to like prevent it from just being like launched at or like fired at. But yeah, so we'll see how this next match goes as well, as we have getting flashbanged by our display right now.
So in years previous, RMUC teams, there were lasers you were allowed to put on on your speed monitor modules.
Interesting.
And that would let you, just like in a video game or in real life, if you have a laser sight, you can have an external laser where that red dot physically will show you where you're aiming.
Yeah.
The issue with that is then you have these robots driving around just shining lasers
everywhere
in places. And so there were years where it was perhaps considered that maybe teams were aiming that laser into the VTM of other teams to flashbang the other teams. Yeah. So I do wonder if it is illegal, how illegal it would be to like put a flashlight or a strobe light. I think you're not allowed to build things super intentionally to deceive the other team's CV.
Like, accidentally, if there's something there,
Your robot had party mode and just started strobing everywhere.
Yeah, or like a speaker or something, I don't know what a speaker would do, but that'd be kind of fire. Just like you win, you have a little victory chant or something coming out of the speaker.
Heck yeah.
Do you think 1v1 is going to be updated next year for anything? Because I know 3v3 had a major change between last year to versus this year.
So I doubt it. Standard confrontation, this 1v1 field and the 1v1 game style does get updates. So they've changed the maxes of things as they change with the robot. But they're usually very small, and that's on purpose, I think. My opinion is that RMUC and RMOC keep standard confrontation as a low bar of entry. You can work on one robot for a couple years, and you're pretty much guaranteed that it's going to be legal. These are a great way for new teams to get in, for teams to be able to, build a robot over time before they have a lot of funding, before they have a lot of members. Building one standard is actually quite tough in a year. If you're like a team of 5,
especially if you're a new team, you don't have the infrastructure yet to handle all these robots. But I was thinking for a team like an experienced team like CU or UCSD going against like a newbie, they're gonna be very what's it called, like they're going against like giants or juggernauts, right? So they're gonna have a very tough time, especially if it's just a confrontation. So maybe it's like if they added more barriers or something like that to make it like more strategy dependent, more than just who has the better driver or who has the better CV.
Well, okay, Nikhil, you're asking questions that I have some hot takes to.
I want to know the hot takes.
Kick them out of 1v1s.
Kick them out of 1v1s.
As we're about to see UW in 1v1s, and I'm stoked. To be clear, 1v1s is going to be freaking awesome this year because I'll get to see UW versus CU, Texas A&M versus CU, right? VT versus UW. It's going to be awesome. But I already get to see those teams in the 3v3s compete at their full strength.
Yeah.
I'm of the opinion, like you're saying, if it doesn't change up, perhaps the min-maxing that these top teams are doing makes it unattainable for those new teams to actually make it out of groups. I think if you get seeded, so if you're top 8 in 3v3, you should not be eligible for 1v1. And that would allow teams to have more matches, more success in 1v1s. And then once they're kind of at the top of their game in this tier,
they move on to
3v3. And you can do both, right? So like Torino last year got 9th in 1v1s and didn't make it out of groups in 3v3. This year they're still doing both. And so that's great, right? They're not seeded.
Yeah.
But like a UW that wins in 3v3, I'm like, all right, you're going to get all your matches to the finals. You're going to have plenty of time to play and get the full experience.
Yeah.
I would rather have that slot for someone like a Torino that gets 9th in 1v1 and it then doesn't have any matches for the last 2 days of the games.
That's true. That makes sense. It allows like the middle tier teams to get better at both 1v1s and 3v. Now we're getting started into the next match.
All right, chat. Speaking of the Giants, speaking of the Titans, check out the teams entering the field. The University of Washington, as you see the crowd splitting, this is a nice reminder. We are running 3v3s and 1v1 simultaneously.
Yeah, as we set up, we can take a look at the robots on the field real quick. Oh, they're not entering yet. I thought they were entering. My bad.
They're close. They're both close. On the side of the
I'm
field.
excited. I want to see these robots.
I love the signs that the University of Washington has made.
Yeah, I really like the team spirit that all these teams have, especially when it comes to like the what's it called? The group stages.
Yeah, 100% agree with Adam and chat. It is a huge accomplishment just making it to comp as we see the University of Washington in the red.
And I also lied. It's not NYU that UW is against. It's gonna be U of A, which is Alberta. Yes.
Okay, you see that blue armor panel on the red side?
Yes.
That's how they're checking their CV. So they're on the red team. They're gonna initialize, make sure that it's aiming at blue, and that they're prepared. But this blue bot's nothing to scoff at.
Yeah, you have a big hopper on top, and what is that? Do you think we can get a better view at the blue robot here, or either robot?
Blue team exiting the field really early. That's a good sign.
That means they're ready to go. They're set.
Yeah, you want to see easy prep for 1v1. You shouldn't need all team 2 minutes, to prep your robot for the teams that are well poised to go far in this bracket. Hey, there we go. 1v1 in-person fans, you can now check out the screen on the projector.
Nice.
Say what you're going to say.
It's okay.
No. Oh, no, this is fine.
Okay. Right there?
Fine.
Okay.
All right,
University of Washington. Oh, there we go.
Oh, there.
That CV
seems a little bit jittery this time.
Yeah,
around.
It looks like it's having a little bit of trouble tracking. See if we switch over what we look at. I saw a bounding box on that guy's face. He needs to be careful.
Yeah.
Look at it. It's on his face again. Don't shoot. Don't shoot. Oh, snap. UW touching the robot past the end period.
Both robots
getting reprimanded by head ref. That's what they're here for. A little bit of pre-fire. Those are the flapper wheels we were talking about. Look at the Beyblade spinning from the University of Washington as they both leave the arena.
Robots are off. Oh, these robots are using a little bit more strategy.
More cautious play coming across. A small interaction. Another trade. This blue bot is standing its ground. The University of Washington keeps peeking the same corner.
Both robots seem to be basically full health. Or is that half health on blue? I can't tell.
Each
Oh,
bot now around 180 health. This is extremely close. 160 projectiles remaining. There we go. That was
almost
a
there.
really good trade for the
Whoa.
University of Washington. Passing between walls. Uh-oh, the blue bot's looking behind the wrong wall.
Oh,
Move
another
across.
quick
A volley
trade.
hits the wall. University of Washington have another good trade there.
Yeah, we're
Still
used.
at 190. UW has not taken a hit since that first trade. You can see the CV identifying the bounding box, and they will take it down.
Yes.
Oh, take it down low. You can
Very
see the
low.
health bar.
There's only one more, two more confrontations left in this match, ladies and gentlemen.
Really good driving from both teams.
And
The University of Washington takes round one.
yeah, this time around we have a much different match, I'd say. Um, Previously we just saw both robots duke it out in the center, but this time there's a little bit more strategy. We had the robots like, peek corners and like try to like duke the other robots out in very like quick 1v1 quick confrontations.
Where's your escape key? Someone put me in full screen. Why are we duplicating and not extending?
Otherwise
Where's the
we
escape
have
key?
both robots are setting up for the next round. Hopefully UW will get out of the uh will get out of the what's it called? The arena ahead of time this time around.
Yeah, that was a really good match.
That was.
Round one, both teams driving very well, engaging in trades. That first trade, UW took one hit. Remind me the blue team.
University of Alberta.
University of Alberta.
Yeah.
Crushing it from Group D of the 3v3s. That bodes really well for them, frankly. Their group is the easiest of the groups, in my opinion. So having a good, strong start will mean a lot.
Yeah. I like that they both were using a lot of strategy. It extends the matches, but it like allows for really nice like quick confrontations.
Yeah. So round two, University of Washington versus University of Alberta. I think Alberta did great in the first few minutes. They hide behind the wall. They peeked the corners well.
Yes. And they were able to just get some damage off. They just need to be able to do that. They need to be able to juke out UW and then try to get around them, As we saw that they were looking at like the wrong corner at times. If they were able to peek the other corner, just the right timing, they might be able to get more damage off. I'm not sure if the University of Alberta has like CV on their robot. They probably do, but
It looked like it was mostly human driven.
Okay.
With the aiming. But that's just my inkling. I've watched enough
Wait.
RoboMasters. I can usually kind of tell. But once you get past a certain level, the CV really is just mostly a suggestion as we start the match.
Yeah. Oh, now
Round
we
two,
have a
they're sitting in
board
the middle.
in the middle. This is a different type of match. They're just rushing the
Ooh.
center.
Big hits. You can see University of Alberta now at half health.
Oh, I think they got some shots off. Oh, now it's 60 health.
University of Washington still yet to take any damage. You can see that CV
full
playing
HP.
really well.
There's like 2 more shots left.
Probably one hit, and there it
that's
goes. The University of Washington wins their first match.
Both round.
But a really good showing from the University of Alberta.
I agree.
They were definitely outgunned, right? This is a combination of robotics and esports. So on the robotics side, they were outclassed.
Yeah.
The CV, the spinning, the deployable fly swatters. The University of Washington had a clear robotic advantage.
Yes.
But driving wise, I think they held their own.
Yeah, no, driving wise, I think they were great. Especially in the first match, we saw a lot of like strategy that they were using as well. This time too, when they were in like the middle for the little fight, they had to like they knew to retreat real fast. We that's like something you need like a little bit of game sense to do because you know that you might not be able to like survive the long fight.
Yeah, I'm excited to continue to watch the University of Alberta through the bracket,
Yeah,
both in 1v1 and 3v3s, right? Like,
exactly.
I can imagine a 1v1 match between U of A and UCSD. Be a dang good match.
That'd be a good match. Yes.
And there, you can punch above your weight class, right? So you can make up for a little bit of a gap in the robotic department with skill, and you can make up for a little bit of the skill department with robotics.
And a little bit of luck on your side, you know?
Sure, yeah,
Exactly. Because anything can go wrong. These are robots made by students, right?
yes.
Some wire could be unplugged at one match, and that could, or a zip tie could be
You
in
can
a.
get a wire shot off.
Oh
Seen it?
yes,
You could have a ball jam. Not, I don't know if it's too soon, but you could have a zip tie fall into your hopper and jam your robot in the
yeah,
grand finals of 1v1s at
that's
home.
that's possible.
I guess,
Yeah, yeah, it's
yeah,
possible. And then yesterday we saw UW's hero Beyblading, and then their battery came out.
yeah. We saw
That's
the same thing from CU at the Midwest Conference.
yeah,
So there's all sorts of things that can go wrong, but there's also a lot of things that can go right. So,
yes.
like you're saying, if these teams like the University of Alberta are ready to take advantage of those moments, then if CU's battery flies out, you know,
They know
they
exactly
know
what
what
to
to
do.
do.
They know what to do.
Yeah, or if the enemy team's robot jams or uses all their projectiles, or
Yeah. They're
whatever
able
may
to bait
happen.
out all of the shots, they might be able to, secure the win.
One of the changes I think would be really cool to see in 1v1. Like I said, I don't think they're going to implement any large changes, but perhaps a lower projectile limit could be really
Really?
cool.
Oh, so it's like you, but I feel like RMNA and like Roadmaster in general is trying to build more of those fights to happen. I feel like they want more of those fights to happen. The changes in
Yes.
3v3 also, I feel like less strategy, but more like just straight like,
Oh, bro,
yeah,
hard disagree. 3v3 has become so much more strategic this year.
really,
Yes. But in 1v1, I think fewer projectiles would increase the time. It's in esports, it would be called time to kill,
yeah,
right? It would increase the time to kill.
that's true.
And I think that would tip the scales a bit so that you have more of the driver skill dominant rather than the robotic performance dominant,
Yeah,
right? When time to kill so short, good CV, good spin to win is really strong.
that's true.
But if you only have like 70 projectiles, you better really trust your CV, right? You
need
can't
to
just
make
spray
sure.
and pray.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think that would be really interesting. It would kind of benefit the poke comps, the sneaking around the walls.
A little bit more, yeah, yeah, yeah. A little bit longer matches, So like the longer the match, the more things can happen, and the more like opportunities both teams have to like, take the advantage.
Be interesting. Chat, what do you think? Are there any suggestions that y'all have, any ideas that y'all have thought of where you're like, man, if they implemented this in 1v1s?
What if they added power-ups, Like a quick power-up.
I think the time to kill is too short for power-ups.
That's true.
Like, I'm not against it. I think like a cool central buff where if you're willing to sit in the middle, you get like 10% damage decrease. Like
Yeah.
you take 10% less damage. That could be really cool. But I think that would encourage like both robots just drive to the center and go. Pop.
That's true. That's true. So, yeah, maybe not power-ups, but I like the lower
Power-ups is
projectile
cool.
limit.
Yeah.
Like power-ups, maybe like if they're able to like, maybe in a few years, you lower the projectile limit, you do other few things, and then you get
Ooh,
power-ups
okay.
slowly.
I got one. Halo shields.
Oh, okay.
So that way, if you're able to avoid damage for like 3 seconds,
You start
you
getting,
get a shield backup that protects your health.
yeah,
This would allow the high projectile count to keep the action high, which is what you were asking for.
yeah.
But then it would still increase time to kill, which is what I was asking for, and encourage teams to be a bit more strategic about, dodging in and out of combat. If you are behind, you can kind of re-equalize the trades by doing a little loop around, trying
Yeah.
not to take damage. It'll be
Yeah.
cool.
That'd be cool. Yeah, I think it levels the playing field more.
All right, we are flying through those 1v1 matches. We're done with the University of Washington and the University of Alberta. Both teams looked really good.
Yeah, and up next we have NUS versus UWM.
Oh my goodness. I'm so excited for NUS.
NUS.
Did you
Really
watch
good.
their 3v3 practice match yesterday?
I did not actually.
It went terrible.
Oh, it went terrible.
Yeah, don't worry.
Oh
Don't
no.
worry. There's more to the story.
Oh, okay.
So none of their robots moved.
Oh, okay.
And I was heartbroken because I'm a big fan of NUS. I thought they were going to come in and take, at least a round off of UW this year. And then they queued up a practice match, UW versus NUS. And I said, dang, a rematch from last year's practice match where NUS did win. And then NUS didn't move.
Yeah.
Heartbroken. Turns out they were having some issues on the pilot computers.
Oh.
The mouse was like not getting captured by the referee system. As we switch back to the field to check out these bots. And so I do expect NUS's robot to be fully functional here today, even if y'all watched their 3v3 and saw some struggles with base functionality.
Yeah. And NUS is also just really good team. They have really cool looking robots, and they did really well last year as well, right? I forgot what place they got up to.
Yeah, NUS has been top 3 material.
Yeah.
They make it into the top 2, into the top 3 for the last 2 years in a row.
Oh.
You'll remember they did take a round off of UW in regulation. It was then reversed because of RFID issues.
Yeah.
But they are a team, when everything goes smoothly, that can compete with the 4-time champions, the undisputed, uninterrupted, unstoppable University of Washington.
We'll see if that continues this year.
Yeah, we'll see. I think NUS has got a shot. I think VT's got a shot.
Yeah.
I think CU's got a shot.
CU's got a shot.
There's a lot of people.
Very, very hard bracket though.
Yeah. It's a tough time.
Yeah. You can see the teams are testing out all of their features of their robots. Blue team here is testing out firing.
In previous years, NUS has a code where their robot doesn't spin until it takes damage.
Oh.
Yeah, so this does a couple things. When we were watching CU, when we were in that driver cam, you noticed the little wobble because your robot's spinning. It eliminates that. But then once you take one hit of damage, it auto starts spinning.
Yeah.
So that way you get the defensive benefits when you're actually in combat.
Oh.
Cool strat.
Yeah.
Lots of support in the chat for NUS.
Yes. 10 seconds until the match starts.
Take a peek from the point of view of these robots. This is the University of Wisconsin-Madison in the blue and NUS Caliber in the red.
Yes.
3, 2, 1. Bring on the bots. Oh my goodness.
Immediately we
really
already started
aggressive.
firing.
NUS seems to have changed that spin program now. Both robots spinning.
Looks like blue team is at half health. They're losing health slowly.
Fighting from the far corners. Only 60 HP remaining to 190.
They're sniping them from across the map.
Yeah, these are full court shots.
Oh, ricochet shots too.
My man's doing trigonometry in the driver's seat.
Crazy. I'm pretty sure at least one of them hit. They have like 10 health left. Blue has like 10 health left.
Doing a really good job. Let's take a peek at the health. 30 HP health. To 188.
188?
Impact damage.
Oh, I see.
Each time a robot impacts a wall, it'll deduct 2 HP if it hits the armor panel.
NUS really taking a defensive position here. I would just rush them.
Yeah.
Oh, there
it is. They smell the blood in the water. They hear him.
And then Wisconsin is like trying to go around.
University of Wisconsin doing a really good job of surviving.
Yeah, their driver's great.
Frankly, NUS needs to fire a little bit in front, having trouble hitting the armor panels, even with a clear line of sight here. And
then Whiskey is not even. They're not even Beyblading right now. So if they, if they rush it, NUS needs to rush right now. Trying to secure the dub. Only 30 seconds left. I guess they could wait out the timer. That should be fine too. But it's not as satisfying,
Oh. I wonder if NUS is out of projectiles.
So now they're both playing very defensive.
Now it's going to come down to some driver sense to realize that you're no longer under fire. You got to push. There's only 6 seconds left in the round.
They could take the dub. Wait, can we get some blue POV here?
And that is
Oh,
time.
that's time.
That will go the way of NUS. And it wasn't close health-wise.
It wasn't.
But
But
the accuracy from NUS left some to be desired.
yeah,
Good win, though.
good
I don't
win.
want to gloss over the
No.
fact that NUS did take the victory and did a great job.
But yeah, but the Wisconsin driver was amazing as well. They were leading the shots away. They were when they were circling the robot perfectly. They have a lot of game sense as well. It was really nice to see. It was
Yeah. Hopefully, the University of Wisconsin-Madison takes some notes from that round and realizes that if they can do that dodging early and not let that initial 140 damage that they got in that first big smackaroo, they have a chance.
they have a really strong chance.
Yeah.
I'm excited. This next round could go either way. If NUS rushes, I'd say that less of a chance that Wisconsin could take the win. But you know, it seems that NUS also is playing a little bit more defensive. They're playing from across the map. I think they're testing their firing because they were able to hit some ricochets as well. I don't know if that did damage, but you know, it seemed kind of cool.
Yeah, I think the UW, the University of Wisconsin-Madison, needs to play really safe early. Let NUS waste the projectiles.
They did. They weren't able to lead their shots properly, which you know really caused that to happen.
Yeah, and if they still have that issue, I think for round 2, Madison should just hold the projectiles, and then in the second half go in. Even if NUS still has some, as long as you have more projectiles and your accuracies are similar but both low, you could take it down.
You can.
Reminder: this is a Swiss bracket, and we are not yet at elimination, so we will see both of these teams again later in the brackets.
Yes, we will.
Let me know in the chat, who do you think is going to take this down? Round 2, University of Wisconsin-Madison or NUS, the National University of Singapore?
We have both robots testing out their Beyblade.
Look at this POV. This is with the Beyblade on. University of Wisconsin-Madison looking really good. 3, 2, 1. Bring on the bots. NUS not letting them get away, chasing.
Rushing.
They switched up their strategy. Both bots now on the opposite side of their starting zones.
Here we go. They're playing a little bit more defensive now. NUS is trying to find where this blue robot is, trying to peek the corners strategically, and I think they found them. They know where they are.
Extremely even health. Quick trades between both bots.
Yeah, NUS really running into all the walls here. They found him in the middle, but they're not firing for some reason. There we go.
I think they're being a bit more conservative. Round 1, they ran out of projectiles. That's a terrifying position to be in.
That's true.
You want to be able to defend yourself all the way through the round.
They're dodging really well. Blue team is dodging brilliantly.
Ooh, they did take a volley there down to 40 HP
health.
now.
That's 4 shots. Oh, 20 health.
As we switch over to the red cam, 130 HP still remaining for NUS, but taking down almost a half.
Do you know how many projectiles they have, though?
I don't. Yes, projectile allowance was down to 15 when they take the win.
Wow.
They shot 185 projectiles. That was way closer than maybe it looks like from the top view.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
That's very close.
Honor, that NUS fire rate is crazy. They've been known to use projectiles fired as an XP mechanism.
Interesting.
This year, it's going to be damage dealt, so it's changing up a little bit.
Their fire rate is actually insane, as chat's saying. But yeah. Other than that, it's like, it's really cool to see. I think they took some barrel heat as well. Barrel heat damage as well. I'm not sure, though. Our next match, ladies and gentlemen, is TAMU versus Purdue.
Oh my goodness.
Great teams.
Ooh, Purdue looked really strong with their standard yesterday.
Yeah. I'm excited. These are very good These are very good teams that are also like contenders for like, top five, I'd say. So I am excited to see what strategies are going to be going up, like cooking up this time around.
Yeah, TAMU versus Purdue. Typically, I mean, Texas A&M, former champions of the 1v1 standard confrontation, but based on both teams' 3v3 practice rounds yesterday, I would give the edge to Purdue.
Mm,
Their standard was looking very, very good, dealt a lot of damage to the CU Sentry from across the curb, whereas Texas A&M was having a lot of power limiting issues, which won't be as detrimental in 1v1 because you start as a high-powered robot.
I see, I see. But yeah, I'm excited for this match.
As a former Texas A&M standard lead, A&M has traditionally, if I can brag on myself for a second, had a really strong standard.
Yeah.
Hey, shout outs in the chat for Kirby.
Is Kirby the ta
You know what? There was a Kirby on Texas A&M Rebel
Yeah.
Masters before. There might be a second now.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for volunteers to cleaning up the field for us. And do you remember what placement TAMU and Purdue were last year, either in 3v3 or in 1v1s?
Texas A&M got fourth place last year in the 3v3 competition, but primarily by just using their standard or their hero. Their sentry has really struggled.
I see.
Um,
They're That's really interesting because that means that their standards are going to be very powerful, very, very well made, and we're going to see a pretty interesting match. I wonder what type of strategy they're going to use because they know that Purdue is also going to be very strong, so they might be a little bit more, like conservative, or they're just like, just roll with it, whatever happens, and just go straight in. I'm really interested in how this is going to go.
Caliber is looking pretty scary
Very
this year.
scary.
All right, chat. I'm cooking a little bit for y'all on the back end. You now have health bars on the top-down view so we can keep track. I think that'll work.
This is very useful for us as well.
I might, we'll see how the computer handles this. If it goes good, I can also snip remaining projectiles. But
Okay, okay.
for now, just let us keep track of each bot during the match.
Yes.
Can you give me a water, Derek? Yeah, that's not Derek. That's Jaquan.
NUS.
NUS and Madison, Wisconsin. Yeah. Oh,
Oh.
hearing rumors that maybe the schedule will conflict and Purdue will have a 3v3 and a 1v1 at the same time.
Oh,
So
that
we'll see
is,
how that shakes up.
yeah. I know that some teams have extra standards for the 1v1s, but not sure if Purdue does. Or if they have the same driver for both 1v1 and 3v3 as well, and that would also be a conflict. Would that be a loss for them, or like how would that be
We'll see
handled?
how it's taken care of this year.
Yeah.
All right, it sounds like I'm hearing from the referees that we will be able to wait for Purdue to finish.
Awesome.
So we might have a small break. Chat, make sure you don't go anywhere. You can open up both the 3v3 and the 1v1 stream. You can have 1v1 up here on the YouTube, the 3v3 over on Twitch. We're going to take a 20-minute break now here on 1v1s.
And we'll be right back.
But we will be back in 20 minutes for Texas A&M versus Purdue.
Very interesting.
to kill. We got a little bit of change up happening. Purdue is still on the 3v3 field. Things are going crazy over there. But over here in 1v1 land, things are spicing up as well.
Yeah. So we're swapping games. So we're just going to be doing a little switch of the game real quick. So we're going to be watching PSU versus Polystar. Yeah. So I was able to talk to
Penn
these
State University versus Polystar. This should be pretty good. These are two where I'd claim mid-tier teams.
Yes.
Mechanically. So it should be a pretty even match.
Even match. And then I was talking to them before the game started. So we have the PSU driver, Jackie, and basically I asked him for a little fun fact, and then turns out they're a video gamer. So, hopefully, some of the skills will overlap.
Yeah, you were mentioning earlier the fact that some teams use gamers specifically. And I mean, we talk about it all the time, but it really is true that it's an engineering challenge during the year. Once June gets here, it's no longer like a robotics team. You're now an esport team with like a robotics pit crew.
Exactly.
That's how I like to think of it.
Pretty cool. I'm excited. I like it. We also treat it like an esports as well. We have like the stream, everything looks like a game. I like it. And then on Polystar, we have Thomas, who is their driver. And then turns out Thomas is the Burger King, and that's why he will win. And turns out Polystar Robot has a lot of tape and hope, really bringing the robot together.
Heck yeah.
You heard it here first.
Well, let's transition on over to the field. We can take a peek at these robots as they enter.
There we go. We have the first robots coming in.
It's going to be Polystar in the blue. PSU in the red.
Yes. It's also really interesting to see the differences in standards. Some of them are bottom fed. Bottom fed meaning that all of the projectiles are going to be in like the main body of the robot, the thing that spins. That basically makes the top like turret very fast, so you can spin really fast and then aim faster as well. And then but it's much harder to implement. So we'll see that more in like teams that have already participated for a long time in these games. Versus a top-fed robot, as we can see Blue has right now. That one is a little bit more simpler, but it makes the entire turret a little bit like heavier. So, there's pros and cons. We're starting soon. It seems that Red is still on the field trying to fix their robot. Did you say PSU was in the red?
They've got about 30 seconds left before this round, so there's not worried that the red team's still on. With 25 seconds left to go.
Yes.
Hoping to see some movement out of that red bot. There we go.
Hopefully everything is working. 15 seconds. We can see that Blue is doing their very slow Beyblade. I can't tell from here, but are the Blues armor plates like at different heights? It looks like it from me.
I would assume that they are. Let's see if we can catch that in one of our other views. Not yet. They look fairly level to me. Some teams, you're allowed to have them offset as long as they're a mirror image across.
Oh, okay.
So you can't put all four at different heights. You have to maintain symmetry on each side of your robot with the armor panels, not with your bot's design.
Oh, okay. Oh, there we go. And the game begins.
Both teams firing lots of projectiles, but none connecting yet. Both bots at 200.
Polystar and PSU in the center, trading. No shots have landed yet.
Really? Oh, there we go. The blue team takes 2 shots. Really showcases the accuracy we were seeing in some of those earlier teams. 180 to 200. Round still very close. This might come down to a hopper size issue.
Oh, there we go. A few more shots taken by blue team. They're down to 150. Now they're down to 100, half health. At this point, if I was red, I would just rush them. You know?
So remember that you have more information than
Oh,
the
that's
drivers
of
themselves.
course.
So you're not wrong though. As the red team does take another advantage trade, 48 HP remaining on that blue bot.
There you go. Both teams playing a little bit more conservatively, but there we go. Blue finds them.
Blue yaw seems to be a bit troublesome, making it difficult for their driver and their pilot to fire. It might be worth turning off Beyblade, honestly, if that's causing them so many issues.
It seems like maybe one of their wheels is dead or something. Because they're making very wide circles when they're trying to Beyblade.
Yeah, but they're not orbiting one wheel, so I think mechanically their wheels are probably fine.
Yeah,
There might be a software issue like you're describing.
I see.
The red bot has returned to its base, but the timer, there's still 7 seconds left in this round.
But both robots seem to just be in their like corners. I see the blues like turning off or something randomly. They just stop and then they start up again. But
And
that is the
now,
end of the game.
I mean, the round has ended. This round will go the way of the red team. I believe is Polystar. No, it was Penn State in the red, Polystar in the blue.
Yes.
Up next.
Okay, as we reset, we can try to do a quick recap of that game. Like, what was interesting to you about that game to you, Preston?
I think Polystar has a couple solutions. Like we pointed out, they didn't deal any damage during that during that round. Part of it looked like potentially because their gimbal yaw, so the head of the robot was not able to turn and stay pointing in the direction that the driver wanted. That can be due to a lot of different things, but I think if that's the issue you're having functionality-wise, you should cut things like Beyblade. I don't believe PSU is dealing enough damage per second accurately that Beyblades are critical. That was a slow enough game, a large enough time to kill that I think Polystar should make that change immediately.
That's true. It's a little bit of a driver as well. Not Polystar. PSU, a very good match for them. But we'll see that how they they change up their strategy this second round because they just kind of like I don't know if they ran out of projectiles or what happened at the end there, but they just went back into their corner. I think they're just trying to wait the timeout.
Every year they bring 10 more people.
Yeah, it was really a fairly long round. I'm not sure why PSU went back to the base. I don't know if he thought he could resupply projectiles or I mean, there were like 20 seconds left. It worked out. I think in future rounds, when they have such a big health advantage, they need to run around in circles.
Yes.
They need to be zooming around, dodging things, making sure they're hard to hit so that the other team doesn't come back. If you run out of projectiles, it's fine, but you need to be on defense with your movement.
Yeah, if you just go back into the corner, the other team can just, come rush you.
Looks like Polystar is going to choose to continue their Beyblade. As I say that, it stops. So
I think they're just testing it.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. This time, I hope it's going to be a little bit more aggressive. Let's see how they change up their strategies. There we go. The Beyblade continues, but it's not wobbling as much anymore. So maybe, but you can see that their turret is a little bit drifting.
The red robot has emitted a small amount of smoke.
Oh,
which is not good.
That is not ideal.
Hopefully just like a flywheel motor or something. There's a lot of things on these bots that could smoke, a lot of things that could short, but some of them are more problematic than others. For example, a battery on these would be super detrimental.
That would be terrible.
Yeah, we've got battery boxes on site to be able to safely encapsulate a leaking or damaged battery. But hopefully it's just like honestly, like a flywheel motor to me would be the best thing.
Yes.
If you burn out a flywheel motor day one, you're probably fine.
Yeah.
You hopefully have extras. If not, there's probably another team that'll lend you a 3508 or something.
Yeah.
Most teams are using gearbox removed 3508s as their flywheel motors.
It's a very common thing to happen too,
But shake up on the bracket, that will mean, I believe, that Polystar will, by default, win round 2 because their robot did not smoke.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's like a win-win if you're Polystar. One, you won the round. Two, your robot is not smoking.
Yes. Duct tape and hope, putting, Polystar's, robot together, it looks great. Yeah.
So Polystar really smart here, asking if they can use their round time anyway. So they've got 1 minute and 40 seconds. 1v0.
1v0.
The firing looks great. I'm not sure what happened in round 1. They weren't able to land any shots. The head positioning looking a lot better. Oh.
Seems that sometimes the head position just follows the Beyblade around.
Yeah. So I think if they're against teams like PSU, turning off that Beyblading
might be better.
Would be way better. Round
they
1, I think,
focus on the
no
fire.
Beyblading, dealing some damage. Offense is a good defense. Defense is also good defense, but not if it hurts you.
Yeah. If it's detrimental to you, just don't do it, But yeah, looking better. We'll see what happens around here. The robot was stopping a lot in the beginning, and in the first round at least.
And you know what? Let me go over to blue POV. What? Never mind. I won't go to blue POV. Should have a blue POV.
Yeah. Interesting.
Interesting.
Very, very odd.
But I just wanted to point out that in addition to obviously making it more difficult to aim, you got to remember it's first-person view.
Yeah.
So you are going to get really disoriented and almost seasick, getting whiplashed around if you're not in control of when that happens.
Yes.
Right? Like, can you imagine playing a video game and then like your little brother has a second controller and sometimes just spins you in a circle?
Yeah, randomly. It makes it a little harder, but it up the difficulty a little bit. But yeah. It's very interesting. I don't know how much time there's left for them to just test out, but it seems that Polystar has won their 1v0, which is great.
Other air talk about it.
Yeah, we're just trying to get the blue POV to work right now. It seems to be a little bit finicky. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but yeah. What else next? Up next, I think we're going to have Purdue and TAMU. They were supposed to go before this, but we just swapped the rounds because there's a little bit of a scheduling issue. But yeah, I was able to get some information about TAMU's driver and stuff, but I wasn't able to talk to Purdue yet. I need to do that soon. But yeah, very cool. Unfortunate. Hopefully, Penn State would be able to come back. But hopefully it wasn't a major short or anything from the smoke. Hopefully it's just some type of like motor that just kind of like died. That's a very easy fix. I feel like they could get back and really they can recover from this. But if something bigger, maybe if they're flip ring or something like of that caliber has shorted, that will take them much longer, and they might even have to like forfeit other matches. But hopefully that does not happen. That would be very unfortunate to see them go out that way. Yeah, the volunteers are cleaning up the field for getting ready for the next matches to come out. I believe the next match is going to be Purdue versus TAMU. That's going to be a very interesting match. Very high caliber teams. I'd say we're going to have a lot more strategy this time around, because I feel like if they both just went on head on in the center, that's not going to be, first of all, it's not going to be as fun, and it could be a 50-50 because both teams are very good. I think it's going to be a pretty well matched game. But yeah.
All right, Purdue versus Texas A&M. Look, I was quite confident that it was going to go the way of Purdue based on practice matches yesterday. Purdue versus Torino in the 3v3 was a bit of a toss-up.
Purdue lost, right?
Purdue lost round 1, but their standard looked really good for the last minute and a half. Just looked really bad for the first 4 minutes.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what the issue was. I heard, people in the crowd theorizing. Perhaps the robot's jamming. Perhaps they're having issues. Perhaps power levels, so it only works as it naturally levels up with XP. Some of those will be solved in 1v1. The XP, the power limiting, you start at a higher level, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Some of those are just going to continue to be problematic. Like if it had jams, you're in a tough spot in 1v1 if your projectiles jam.
Projectile jam, you're kind of just screwed.
You're cooked.
You're cooked.
Absolutely cooked.
There's nothing you can really do to recover
Chat,
from that.
if you know someone, I'm going to do it right now. I'm not. My phone is being used somewhere else for a thing. But if you know someone that needs to be watching this 1v1, if you know some people that are fans of Purdue, fans of TAMU, fans of awesome robots, make sure you hit them up. Send them a link to this stream right now. Because TAMU versus Purdue, they sure do, man.
Big teams. It's going to be an interesting match. Even if your friends are don't know what Robot Master is, this might be a good match to watch.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, 1v1 to 3.
Purdue,
MIA.
Yeah. I mean, they got to find them, right? They went from 3v3. And it sounds like we're going to have a 10-minute break. You know what? Maybe not a break. We'll wait, chat. We're waiting.
We'll see how this goes.
But thanks for rolling in. Thanks for being here. Let's chat about it. Nikhil, Texas A&M, their standard has long since been the one consistent bot on the team. For 3 or 4 years now, they have they've won the 1v1 standard confrontation. They've placed top 2, top 3 in standard 1v1s. It's kind of carried them through the groups of 3v3s a lot of years. If 1v1 confrontation goes bad this morning for Texas A&M, do you feel like that is... How bad of an omen is that to you for 3v3 performance this year?
I'd say it's like a warm-up,
Okay.
I'd say it'd be like, okay, if you
think
lose
they got
one,
time? They got some time still. It's still groups.
It's better to fail now than to fail later,
True.
Right? So,
and to your point, in Group D, I think A&M could drop a game.
Yeah, and
still make it out.
Yes. Group D.
Reminded that the top 2 teams in the 3v3 bracket make it out. And 1v1 bracket will be a Swiss stage, the top 8 teams proceeding to knockouts.
Yes. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Yeah. So hopefully if their standard's working, any issue should come out in the 1v1. That is a good way of putting it out.
Purdue is filing an appeal, I hear, over on the 3v3 side, an issue that they were having. So kind of depending on the verdict of that appeal might change the timing for them. Behind us, you see Torino walking through with their standard from Roboto.
Take a look
Team
at
Roboto.
their standard.
It looks pretty good this year. I'm bummed it's not balancing. The champions of RMNA balancing bots, both Purdue and Torino choosing not to bring their balancing bots.
Yeah, they really nerfed the balancing bots this year.
Hard disagree.
Really?
Yeah. So, to your point, yes, they now have to have 4 armor panels, which takes away one of the big game advantages. But we also added the elevation in the 3v3 map. If you have a balancing bot that can jump, you could now go from your base, jump up on the curb, direct access to the middle. It would be so fast compared to all the other bots. With a few small exceptions. We've seen some bots from Virginia Tech with supercapacitors that can freaking fly. Just zoom to the middle, and I bet they'd get there about as fast as a balancing jumper.
Yeah. But then they don't have to go over the bumpy terrain, the balancing.
Exactly.
Anything,
It would also be the easiest kind of bot to jump off of the ramp with.
Least damage taken when.
But you can't high center.
What?
So you can't high center. So the problem with going off of the ledge is not the height as much as it is you tip. Because your wheels are at the front and the back of your wheelbase.
Yeah.
But when you have a balancing bot, your wheels are in the middle.
So
by the time you come down off the ledge, 90% of your robot is over the edge. And so you're probably going to make it.
That makes sense.
An additional point is that the Purdue robots are self-righting. So if they tip over, they have arms and they can swing their arms over like that and then stand up. just kind of Geodude, you know?
Yeah,
They just kind of
yeah.
walk around on their two legs.
Kinda
So
fire.
I think there was still an opportunity this year for balancing bots to be pretty strong. You could see Purdue behind us getting ready, pulling their bot. There it goes.
Little sneak peek of the
Over to the
robot
1v1
too.
pitch.
Hopefully they've solved whatever issue they had that prevented them from firing the first 4 minutes.
I hope that A&M and Purdue are both in top form. If they
Yes.
are, this should be a really close, really intense 1v1.
Yes. If not, unfortunately, then
Don't
Well,
cast or curse them, Nikhil. Don't do
no
it. It's
cast
going
or
to be
curse.
phenomenal.
yeah, it's gonna be they're
A&M
gonna be
and
perfect.
Purdue, both standards that have incredible fire rates, really good movement typically each year, great accuracy.
Yeah.
Both teams dabble in the CV world, but I believe that both of these teams focus more on driver skill for their aiming,
Yeah.
and then really high fire rates and projectile accuracy and precision.
Yeah.
That way, the driver, can just point and click, and it goes right where they're clicking 100% of the time, really fast.
And we see the TAMU. Speaking of drivers, the TAMU driver Jordan. A fun fact about him is that he collects microwaves. So and he's Australian.
Does he rip the transformers out of the microwaves to make cool stuff?
I actually don't know.
I'll bet that's what he does.
Oh,
You
that
can
makes
make
sense.
crazy stuff. You can. Microwaves are a hilarious thing.
Over-engineered.
Like the fact that you just walk in and buy microwaves is they've got these little transformers in there that you can rip out and do some wild electrical stuff with. You could make your own little AC welder if you wanted, and all sorts. You can get a lot of heat and a lot of oomph out of a microwave transformer. So, YouTube guys, not advice. Don't do it. But when I hear that an engineer likes collecting microwaves, I think they're probably taking those microwaves apart.
I don't know why, but I was just thinking of like just a stack of like 30 microwaves, like a wall.
Bro's a connoisseur of microwave foods, and he doesn't want to have to wait for one to become available. So he like slides the chicken wings in the top one, the tots in the second one, the microwave frozen cheesecake in the third one.
Perfect. Yeah, it's like it's a good setup, I would say.
Bro's electric bill is through the roof.
Yeah. Right. I believe we're going to be setting up.
All right, chat. I see Purdue and Texas A&M, so we're going to switch back over to that field cam and take a look. That will be Purdue in the blue and Texas A&M in the red.
All right. They are starting their 2-minute setup period.
There's the Texas A&M standard. Texas A&M has gotten to a point where the upgrades and changes have become iterative, so they're not large. This standard looks quite similar to last year's standard, which is not a bad thing. A&M, champions of 1v1 standard confrontations in years past. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly, yeah.
Purdue, on the other hand, typically a balancing bot team. It's on the back of their shirts is a picture of their balancing robots. So this 4-wheeled bot is a bit newer, but not brand new.
Yeah. So we'll see. It's very interesting they did not bring their balancing bot. I feel like if they're, if that one is good, they would continue using it. But maybe they decided that the non-balancing version is just, a little bit better this time around.
A little bit nervous for Purdue right now. I can't see what the robot's doing. Let me see if we can catch it on this cam. But look at their power consumption. 34 watts.
34 watts versus
looks
the 4
like
watts.
Just statically, which would be very problematic. You don't want to be pulling 30 watts. In contrast, A&M is pulling 20 while doing spin to win. There's a peak of 70, but just sitting at about 3 watts static.
Yeah. Maybe this was one of the reasons why they weren't able to do anything until
the
later in
A&M
the
bot
round.
is firing successfully.
Good.
30 seconds.
30 seconds left for setup period. Hopefully Purdue. Oh, Purdue's.
Looks like we've got a swerve drive standard here on Purdue. So has the ability to have high efficiency in all directions. Texas A&M running a standard Mechnum.
Yeah, but an issue with the swerve drive is that it does take a lot more power. So maybe that is why we're seeing these power spikes.
Yeah, it's calmed down now. I'm not sure what they were doing earlier, but now it's back in that. I mean,
they're running ChatGPT or something. It's like
it's moving.
Yeah. There we go. Match starting. Few seconds. There we go. Auto checking.
All right. 3,
2, 1.
Bring out the bots.
All
Purdue versus
right.
Texas
Oh,
A&M. Texas
Purdue.
A&M really quick on the attack over on the blue side of the base. Doesn't deal any damage, but a good scare tactic. Long-range projectiles coming across. Both teams unharmed.
Oh, Texas A&M moving one of the barriers.
Third trade again. No projectiles landing. Really tentative movement from both bots.
TAMU's power is really peaking, very hard.
Yeah, 180 watts.
What's the limit?
230.
There you go. They got a few
Texas A&M
damage
though
off.
taking advantage, getting a advantageous trade down to 130 HP is Purdue. Purdue struggling a bit to move.
Purdue's not Beyblading as well. They're not really firing any. Oh, their flywheel's not working. It's just, vomiting out some of these balls.
I wonder if they know they need to turn on the flywheels.
Maybe that's
This happens every year with teams. They feed the projectiles and it just kind of pushes them between the flywheels without firing.
Yes. 90 health left on Purdue's robots.
Purdue continuing to dribble out projectiles non-threateningly.
Oh, but TAMU is not firing as well. There we go. They get a few shots off.
I hope that this is a strategic play from Texas A&M to just get more time on the field.
Probably.
And not a jamming issue. But Texas A&M will take round 1, 200 HP to 0.
You may enter.
There we go.
A&M really struggling with their power management, it looked like, during that round.
Yeah.
You identified peaks really high, not very detrimental in 1v1s, but in 3v3s, that'll take you out.
That would. Because the limit is very low for 1v1s, at least, for 3v3s, at least in the beginning, and it slowly rises up throughout the match. But yeah.
Guys, we got teams on deck right now.
We have a lot.
I see Torino. I see University of Texas at Austin. I see Fang Robotics from Austin Community College. I'm seeing a ton of teams behind us. So get ready for some back-to-back 1v1 action as Texas A&M and Purdue. Oh, no. Purdue already 6 HP down. I think they've bumped it with their humans. Each collision dealing 2 damage.
That's unfortunate. They have to go into this next match with 6 less HP. Hopefully it resets.
Shouldn't be that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Unless the script writers are going crazy.
The script writers are going crazy.
Oh, man, I'm seeing peaks up to 240 watts on the Texas A&M side.
And the robot's not even really doing anything right now. There we go. Hopefully their flywheel is a software issue and not a mechanical one, because that'd be really hard to fix off on the go. But yeah, for Purdue at least. I wonder what they will do. But yeah.
Purdue getting a stern warning from the referee about talking to their drivers. Not allowed.
Not allowed. I bet the driver needed to turn the flywheel on. I think that's what the issue was.
I hope the driver turns the flywheels on.
That's very important.
Yeah. Some would argue like the most important thing.
Yeah.
3 seconds left in the preparation period. 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring on the bots.
There we go. I think they turned their flywheel on.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, they did. Look at that. Texas A&M down to 100 health immediately in that first exchange.
Crazy.
Down to 80. Purdue looking really strong. This is just like their 3v3 performance.
There we go. 60 health left for TAMU.
Spin to win also working now for Purdue, looking much more like the team we expected. A&M now at 50 HP.
There we go. A little bit of damage, a little bit of chip damage.
Oh! A&M runs into the wall, trying to navigate.
Do they take damage because of that? We don't know.
Peeking the other sides. And that trade is really close. A&M at 38. They did take 2 damage.
8 HP left. One more shot could be the end of TAMU right here.
And that is it. Purdue takes round 2 basically without taking a hit. They're at 190, but I don't know if that was a projectile or frankly if they just kept bumping into walls.
Yeah.
But with both bots functional, Purdue the clear victor.
Wow. Very interesting set of matches. As we said,
Purdue
it's close.
hilariously seems to have this thing now. Not now. It's hopefully not something that will stay.
Just for the past 2 rounds that we saw.
Yeah, the past 3 rounds I've watched from Purdue, they kind of make a small oops on round 1. Like they don't turn on their flywheels or the robot, has a jam or whatever. And then once they get that sorted out, they look really, really strong. So hopefully they can get that sorted during groups and are able to get that performance a bit more consistent. But with consistent performance, they're looking really clean.
Yes.
Texas A&M, on the other hand, won round 1. And I thought that they were taking their time with the kill just to get extra practice, to get extra time.
Yeah.
But after their round 2 performance, I'm a little nervous that just was the current level of functionality of their standard.
That's unfortunate. But as we talked about, they have a lot of time to fix their robot up. It might have been a jamming issue because it was like they weren't really like getting any shots off, but they were able to move fine. So
mechanically, it looks like everything should be functioning just fine. And so software-wise, while it may not be easier to fix, it is most likely a much quicker fix.
Yes.
It's not like you say, oh, we need to buy this part, we need to fabricate this thing. It's software changes that you could flash once they're made.
Yeah, you just have to keep on. It's faster to iterate when it's just a software issue. But it's not just a software issue. Software could be very hard to debug as well. That is something that we know of. Yeah.
All right, Chad, our volunteers are making a quick swap of the field. We're diving right through teams. I think it's the University of Texas at Austin versus, is that Ontario Tech?
Yeah, let me take a look. It turns out, I think it's RHIT versus NYU, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll see who gets on the field.
We'll see, yeah, we'll see. There might have been a switch up on the matches as well.
The schedule may be in flux.
Yeah. The schedule can change as teams come on and off, But you will be seeing a match shortly. That is for sure.
Kyo, can you open up this live stream on your phone and just make sure everything's happy?
Yes.
I'm getting a few notifications on this side that maybe things aren't as happy as they could be.
Of course. I will take a look.
All right, guys. The field is getting swept up and cleaned up, and Purdue's bots, Texas A&M's bots are off. Shout out to our volunteers seen here. Killing it. With 200 projectiles at each bot every round. It's a lot of work to get this thing swept up and made up so quickly.
I believe it's working well
Sounds good.
on the stream.
1v1s. 1v1s are so different, Nikhil, than 3v3s. The 3v3 competitions obviously have that higher bar of entry that we've talked about, but the strategy for 1v1s is still very much there, right? Like as an ARAM player in League of Legends, it feels kind of like ARAM. We're like, okay, yeah, the map is much more simple. You just go this way. Your opponent's on the other side.
It must go the other way.
Yeah. But the strategy definitely still there. And frankly, when teams are really close together, very nuanced, right? Trying to decide when to go in, when to stay out. You pointed out that in the POV, you can't see the enemy team's health.
Yes.
But you can physically see their light bar.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey, lickety splits. It went 1-for-1.
1-to-1.
Each team won 1.
No.
So it'll be a 1-and-1. It's Swiss bracket, so it'll be points they'll continue to play against other teams that have similar records is how that'll work. And then the top 8 teams will make it out.
Yeah, there is still a chance for both of these teams to get out of the Swiss bracket. It's not like they will they're unable to make it out. But yeah, I think the next teams are UT Austin and Ontario actually. The schedule is just out of sync, I guess.
UT Austin also in Group D. There's a lot of intrigue right now about who will make it out. This is going to be a really clear look, right? Group D is Texas versus Canada. You got A&M and UT with like 3 of the 4 Canadian teams in there. Ontario Tech, I believe, one of those teams.
Nice.
There's a little preview. I think if UT Austin's standard is very strong here in 1v1s, they'll stand a good chance of making it out of groups, which obviously they would love. As like a third-year team now, they've got a pretty good shot.
That'd be great. Yeah. Of the 2 teams, which do you think is going to be favored to win this next match?
Which do I think is favored in the match?
Yes.
You know, I'm not super familiar with the work of Ontario Tech. I'm excited to see them. Last year, the standard for UT looked pretty good. They focused on the basics. They didn't have big spin to win stuff. They didn't have CV. They didn't have super caps, but they had good driving within the power limits. They had good accuracy. They had high robot reliability. And so for those reasons, I think in the bracket as a whole, UT Austin should go pretty good in 1v1s. If I had to pick, maybe right on the edge of getting out. So maybe 8th to 10th.
Okay.
Ontario Tech, I'm taking a peek at their standard. It looks good. The hopper's massive.
Yes.
But it's a good-looking bot. I mean, definitely can fit 200 projectiles in there.
It looks
so
nice.
This will be my first introduction to them as a team this year. And I think I'll kind of judge where I think they'll land based on this match.
Awesome. Yeah, as we can see, the robots entering right now. Style points wise, Ontario looks really nice. I'm not gonna lie. I really like the white accents on their robot. And on this other side, it seems that UT Austin's like standard is like much smaller, you know, more compact. That gives a really good, you know, they might be able to like maneuver the robot a little bit better. We'll have to see. Um, only 90 seconds remaining for them to test their robots. Ontario already leaving the field. Oh no, they're just filling the robot. But yeah.
I mean, okay. I see some things. I know it looks like a clipped view, but that ball path for this red robot does not look like it has bearings in it. And an unbearing ball path can be prone to jamming sometimes.
Oh, interesting.
With 17 millimeter projectiles, it's not as big of a deal, but you'll notice that a lot of your teams with high fire rates with 17 millimeter projectiles will have bearings on 2 sides of that curved ball path that you can see here. Yep, on the red side bot.
Yes.
Take a look over at blue, and all we get is an arm there. So
We
we'll
are
keep on
getting
moving.
covered. It seems that there's some technical difficulties on the driver end.
Got some cheers in the chat for the Ridge bots.
Let's go, Ridgebots. That is Ontario's team.
If you're watching and you're related to any of the players or the pilots or the engineers, go ahead, drop their names in chat. Let us shout them out.
Let us, shout them out. Show some love for your teams, guys. And chat. Oh, it seems that they're firing all of their.
Ontario Tech's robot is mag dumping.
It is mag dumping.
The hopper is very large. The bot has now fired pretty much every projectile it has.
Was that on purpose or accidental? We do not know.
Oh, definitely accidental. We know. It's getting a round of applause from the crowd. That was a pretty impressive fire rate.
Yeah.
Probably some sort of software issue when the robot initializes, it accidentally turns on the feeder motor and not just the flywheels.
The agitator also turns on at the same time.
Yeah, the agitator. Ontario Tech, it sounds like, will have an opportunity, 10 seconds on the clock, to inspect for damage and refill projectiles, perhaps.
Yes.
But the red team is not being allowed to hop back in their side.
As we see, we have a lot of.
All right, we'll see if they're able to fix this.
17mm.
Hopefully, it really was just driver error.
Yeah, hopefully it's just driver error.
Oh my gosh, no, they're waiting to dump them in because it just starts. They don't have an on-off
They
switch.
don't have it on up. They have to rush at this point. Oh,
They're able to stop firing. Can they start again?
then can they start it again?
Was that all the projectiles? UT Austin
UT
starting to chunk through the Ontario Tech bot, down to 138 damage.
They took some wall damages as well. UT Austin saying no. Maybe did they jam or are they just letting the robot
don't know.
turn on? Oh, they're doing.
Oh, excuse me. This is UT Arlington, not UT Austin.
It's Austin. Oh, it is Austin.
Oh my goodness. Chat is confused.
Chat is
We'll figure
confused.
it out in a
Everyone's
minute.
confused.
Oh my goodness. Ontario Tech maybe landed some dope. No, okay. The red bot is hurting itself. Down to 176 health. Rubbing the walls. Let's take a look in this blue POV. They do have a projectile allowance. I want to see if this bot is still able to fire.
That's a very shaky driver cam. As you can see, chat, this is why it's very difficult to drive as well. It's very disorienting.
Oh, Ontario Tech still struggling.
Right? There's only. I believe that.
Oh my goodness, both bots bumping
8
into the
HP
walls,
left.
bouncing around. 8 HP remaining for Ontario Tech as their bot is taken out and UT takes the first win.
That it is UT Austin. We are not lying.
Now that the round is over, Ontario Tech mag dumping into the wall. If they can get this figured out, they'll be fine.
That'd be fine.
Their movement was fine. This fire rate is great. They're obviously not
Good
having
fire
jamming
rate.
issues.
They need to be able to start it on time and then stop it on time.
I think they're probably having some weird interaction on the robot side with the ref system because it seems like when the game starts and stops
they're able to
when that toggles. So
maybe maybe everything's connected to a very similar stream control path where both of their what's it called? Their flywheels turn on, so does their agitator. So they just have to back dump every single time.
Both bots in that resupply zone starting up for round 2. Ontario Tech versus UT Austin Stampede. UT Austin looked pretty good. Kind of similar to round 1 with A&M. They were able to deal damage, and we kind of were left with that question of, are they taking a while to finish off the bot to get practice time, or is this the current level of full court press?
Still confused. We'll see how the second round goes to make a distinct observation or whatever.
Making a couple small adjustments from Ontario Tech's member underneath their bot.
Yes.
Maybe they needed to flip the driver control switch.
Maybe.
It's not a real switch, but I'm hoping for it.
I hope it is a switch.
Maybe they just had a thing where their flywheels and their, it could be their flywheels and their feeder motor, their agitator were wired together.
Yeah.
Not wired, but physically just plugged in. Maybe, I don't know.
Plugged into the same port or something.
Yeah,
they just have to,
plug that one in, plug it into the correct port on the board, and then,
maybe they had a jumper,
have independent
shorting
control
them.
of the flywheels and the agitator.
All right.
We got 15 seconds left in the setup period. Ontario Tech is waiting to dump the projectiles. 7 seconds left.
5 seconds left.
4, 3, 2, 1.
1.
This is crazy. Ontario Tech.
And the game begins.
The game has started?
No, game starts in 9 seconds. They might. I think they're gonna get rid of all their ammo by the end of this game.
I mean, they have to go through this auto check period, so they run all the way out of projectiles because the game starts in 3, 2, 1. Right as they run out of projectiles. Oh, that's so heartbreaking.
You think
now
they'd be taking damage
Ontario
because of
Tech
that?
against University of Texas.
We'll see how this goes. It seems that blue team does not have any more ammo. They're taking a little bit of damage from UT Austin.
Good driver practice because if Ontario can get this sorted, right, they are in a fine position. So I'm glad their driver's getting this drive time.
Yeah, now it's just time to, dodge and weave. Try to live as long as possible. Hopefully, I guess at this point they can really hope
the same goes for UT as they do a nice volley there, taking the robot's health from 120 down to 70, now down to 38.
36. They ran into a wall. 26.
Oh no!
Oh my
Texas
goodness!
Stampede's robot has been decapitated.
Their head is gone. How did this happen? Did it run into a wall?
But for 48 seconds, the game just goes. No ref module has come.
Undone.
No referee module has come offline, so the robot is not being ejected.
Yes. So they could still win this round.
They could still win this round. This is a bummer for UT. A bit of a bummer. Not ideal, some would say.
Some, only few.
Chat, can we get some F's in the chat? Can we get some condolences for UT Austin, please?
Yes. Hopefully they can, do some surgery, put their head back on. Yeah, that's unfortunate.
The driver doing a good job of just stopping.
Yes.
I've seen drivers where they lose their VTM or their head, and they continue to try and figure out what's going on or drive around, and it's just going to make things way worse.
Yeah.
So that is the time.
That is
and it will still go the way of Stampede. So they do win 2-0.
Yes.
And now they have time to try and put the head back on their bot.
Yeah. That is quite unfortunate.
Oh my goodness.
We can take a closer look at the damage. It looks like the barrel is also a little damaged. I don't know if it fell off or something.
Okay, so I know that looks really bad. But there's levels of how bad that could be. Yeah. I've actually seen this comp a couple teams who have like hot swappable turrets. There's a team out there. We'll show them during style selects. We'll take you on a pit tour. But there's some teams out there that like the whole robot head just plugs in.
Yeah.
Cool. And then it latches on. That's probably not the case with UT.
Yeah. But, it's like, as long as, all the wires are intact, it might just be a bolt or something.
So yeah. I think as long as their slip ring is okay, because they did have spin to win. So there's an electrical slip ring at the bottom that is transmitting power and signal between the bottom half of the robot and the top half of the robot. As long as that's not broken, because they probably don't have an extra, they're usually a pain in the butt to replace because you've typically soldered a lot of your direct connections to wires coming out of there to the pigtails.
Yeah.
If that's fine and it was something else, they could 3D print a new adapter or a new bracket to go from that top of that motor to the head itself.
Yeah.
And UCSD has graciously provided access to teams to their 3D printing suite.
Or maybe they could, create something that will help them as well.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a chance that UT is able to just print a new adapter and get things going.
Yeah. We'll see. Who's up next on this team? I'm not sure. I can't even trust the schedule anymore.
Next up on the schedule, I mean, I'm looking behind me, and I see Torino, and I see ACC, Austin Community College, both very close to the arena. If I had to take a guess,
I'm assuming it'd be that.
That would be the guess I'd make. Chat, that was a surprise twist. It's been many years since I've seen a decapitated robot win the round.
Oh, yeah. Kat was saying that this was the UT Austin like decapitation streak. Not sure what that is referring to, but maybe they lost their head before.
Yeah, we're trying to fix the laggy stream for you. We'll let you know.
Let you know how that
or
goes.
you'll let us know if we do successfully fix it. But
Yeah.
for now, ASU is supposed to be next, but they're in 3v3s or something.
So we're gonna
we'll be
skip them.
continuing down the schedule as possible.
Yes. Yeah, I believe Torino's up next. Yeah, it does look like Torino is going to be up next. But yeah, Torino in their 3v3 was doing pretty